Hello and welcome back. I'm James Hembrow from the Creative Expressions Demonstrators team, and you're here at the very latest treasure hunt for Creative Expressions. And I've had a fantastic week this week. Once again, hunting around the warehouse here at HQ for Creative Expressions, finding some real good bargains and deals for you that I'm going to be sharing with you in just a second. If you've not seen us before, every Thursday at 6 o'clock, we're across all the social medias here on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for a fantastic bargain treasure hunt where I hunt around and find some real great deals and put together some real fantastic ideas from our design team, and also give you a quick couple of demonstrations and tips on how to use a fab bundle that we've put together for you at a very special price. And this week is no different. We have an amazing offer. The RRP, when I show you this in a moment, will be £57.93, but the price on today is going to be nothing like that. If you see us here before, you know exactly the sort of offers we're going to be able to give you. So don't forget, if you've got any comments or questions, do just comment down below there. Any of your crafting concerns or anything you see me do, you're not quite sure how it was done. Obviously, I can't reply straight away because I'm busy here crafting, showing you all these great goodies. But one of the Creative Expressions team may be able to reply, or I will do after the show as well later on, let you know. And also don't forget to share any of your makes that you've used in past treasure hunts here. I've seen quite a few already. Always like to see what different ideas people come up with. And like I've always said before, that's exactly what crafts is all about, sharing lots of different ideas with each other in the community. So without further ado, let me share with you what's on my craft desk down here, and you can have a little look at exactly what I've put together for you. So we've got something a little bit different this week. I've pulled together a mixture of stencils and dies for you, and also some of the ink pads, some of the really popular Simon Hurley dye ink pads here. We've got the Clear Sky, Overzealous, and also the Rosy Cheeks colour. And these stencils are really nice, large 7x7 stencils that you can use in their entirety, and also, as you'll see me use in a moment, pick out some of the various elements of them to use those. I'm just going to go ahead and take those out of the packaging. So this is just to show you exactly what you'll be getting in today's bundle, and how it will look when it turns up on your craft desk. So if you've not seen me before, this is exactly where I do all my crafting work. This is where everything starts. I've got various craft desks dotted around the place, but this is my first one that I like to try out different ideas and techniques that you may have seen me use on some of my projects on TV and on these treasure hunts. So it's great to welcome you directly onto my craft desk. So I hope you will be getting some of these goodies on yours very soon as well. The two dies that I've pulled together for today's show are two of Sue's bold words, and love the font on these. They're really, really nice. Just seem to be the right size. They're not too large, but really easy to cut out and work with. They're nice, bold, chunky words. And we have got two fabulous sayings that really are generic across the year. We've got beautiful and fabulous. And that's exactly what they are. They are beautiful and fabulous. And then each of them come with their clear stamp set included as well, which you may have spotted down the bottom here. So they come on this little clear color sheet, so you can see exactly what we've got on everyone. I tend to keep mine actually attached to the packaging. Again, I mention this every time, but the little magnetic sheets I apply myself, I just use the woodware magnetic sheets just to hold all my dies in place. That's exactly how I then store them in my craft room here, just for quick access. But anyway, I digress. The stamps here, you have a in every way, inside and out, heart, day, have a, and your. And you can see how well all of those work with the word beautiful. So you can mount those above and below with a little bonus die, the little rectangle here that allows you to create some nice banners and flags to just frame that main feature word. And you can use that on as you'll see in some of the fantastic designs that the design team have come up with, how you can use that as a real centerpiece. So you have a beautiful heart, or beautiful in every way. So you can see the combination of how you can use the stamps. And there's nothing stopping you using the stamps from one set across to the other word as well. So fabulous. You can mix and match all of them together. So you're going to have a fabulous day or have a beautiful day. So you can use all of these stamps. And again, likewise, 9 stamps in this set, 7 in this one. To my, what a, day, have a, simple, you look. And again, all of these stamps are individually cut out and clear stamps that we'll be using in a little while, and a couple of two bonus dies there actually for slightly different size banners that you can make up. So I've included two of those, one of each, two dies there for you, two of the stencils as well, not forgetting those. Let me just place those back onto the background so you can see those there, otherwise they're going to disappear on my craft mat. And three of the Simon Hurley ink pads, full size ink pad, direct from Ranger, high quality. As soon as you say Ranger, you know that the colours, the blendability of these inks are going to be absolutely fabulous, and the colours really are stunning. You can use those with water, which I'll be doing, as well as blending them straight off the ink pad, mixing colours, and they work absolutely amazing through these stencils. So let me just pop some of this packaging to one side. And before we go any further, I'll show you everything you're going to get. I'm going to let you know what the offer price is before I make a start. So for all of these bits you see on my desk here in front of me, as I said earlier on, the RRP is £57.93. The offer price today and for 1 week only is just £29.99. That's £29.99. That's including free shipping out to anywhere in the UK from the Creative Expressions website. All the links are down below in the description for this fantastic treasure hunt collection. They do sell out, so it's only while stocks last. I have had a few comments and sort of say, oh, I thought it was going to be a week. It is for a week, but as soon as the stock's gone, that's it. The offer is unfortunately over. So it is a very, very special deal. All of these treasure hunts are. Any of the other little items I'll be using, maybe some foundation card or ink pads or glue, a lot of our favorites like the Cosmic Shimmer glue. I'm going to just make sure that all of those links are down below in the description for you as well, just for quick reference. If you need to stock up, or maybe you are new to crafts, maybe you've not done anything like this before. And if you haven't worked with stencils or dies, then this is a terrific way to make a start, and stencils and ink pads are a great way to really experiment and get quite creative. And that's exactly how we're going to start off with today's demonstration. So I want to show you some of the design team's cards, and this one's absolutely fabulous. I've just been speaking to the team about this one. Diane Williams, amazing team member, all of them are. We're very, very lucky here at Creative Expressions. But just a quick shout out to Diane. She's done an absolutely fabulous card using one of the stencils here, and actually just simply doing a monochrome card using a fine black marker and then doing some entangled work there and doing some doodling. Looks absolutely stunning, just adding that die in there. Really love the simplicity. I appreciate there's an awful lot of work going into that, but real simple effect. Looks absolutely stunning. Really nice design here, pulling in some of the ink pads and also the masks, using them with other Cosmic Shimmer products. So once you've got these masks, again, maybe you've been crafting for a while, but you've not tried some of our texture pastes. This is one of our texture paste techniques here that we've got here. Or maybe you're completely new to craft. Well, once you've got these stencils in your craft stash, it's something you'll go back to time and time again to create all these different effects. And here's another one using similar stencil technique, but with the inks that I've pulled on today's show with a couple of different colours thrown in. Really love the design of that card as well. Diane's been very busy with us here. She's created another fantastic card with a real splash of colour, bringing in just these two ink pads, the Rosy Cheek and the Overzealous there, with a beautiful craft die. Looks absolutely stunning. Another one here, just using a bit of a water, so bleach effect there, just stenciling and then applying some water sprinkled or sprayed over the top, spritzed over the top just to bleach it and then mottled off. So many different techniques with stencils, and that's why I wanted to include them in today's bundle, because stencils really are something you can use time and time again in so many different ways. And as you kind of grow with crafts and you become more adventurous and try out different things, or maybe you get different ink pads or different tools, you'll find you better go back to your stencils time and time again. You can emboss with them through a machine, you can stencil them in the traditional sense, and you can even stamp with them and actually create a negative image from your mask, which I'll show you in a bit as well. Another fantastic design here, with the stencil being traced by pen simply in a real sort of traditional way, and then actually applying some colour through, or coloured in, I would imagine. Diane's done there actually after it's been drawn around. I think that's lovely. Love the little touch with the butterfly actually being cut away from what's been stenciled. Really like this. This almost has a feel of sort of like a curio cabinet. I like the way the sort of butterflies are laid out here with the background, creating a whole background just using one part of the stencil. Again, you can see how versatile these stencils are. And all of these ones I'm laying out for you now are just using these 3 ink pad colours, these ones that Diane have done here for us. Now, I've also, because these are Sue's die designs from herself, it would be very, very wrong of me to not include some of the cards samples from Sue directly. So this is a lovely white on white tone. You can see some of the detail there in the embossing. And then she's also gone ahead and used the main word, just like I was saying, is a feature in its own right. You're beautiful in every way. And then just some foundation card cut into stripes there as a background. So you can see how these words are just big enough to become a real feature to the front of any card, as well as just being as an added sentiment. And I think this idea from Sue really screams that, actually using the words to create a whole background. You got fabulous there. You could mix in fabulous and beautiful with this collection that I've put together for you. We'll do one of each, lots and lots of different ways, and that's just using the stamp from the set as well. So just the die alone without the stencil, fantastic idea there that you can use and create. And we just gone ahead and Sue's added some of our, I don't imagine it's going to be the diamond frost or the glitter jewels around the outside there as well, just adding a little bit of the glitter on the tone on tone with the white. Looks stunning. Got lots more as well here. Again, just using the beautiful word as an on-edge die. It's been cut along the edge there, used in a slightly different way, again with a nice blended colour down the background. Very simple, and I think that's the thing with these words is, as I said right at the beginning, they are big enough to be a real feature to the front of any card. You have a beautiful heart. I think that looks absolutely lovely, being paper piece back in after it's been cut out as well there. That's another one of Sue Wilson's samples. We've also got one here, Natalie done a lovely job. Really like this idea. If I just show you that, you can see, there we go. You can see what she's done. She's actually cut out fabulous a number of times in white cardstock, probably a bright white foundation cardstock, stuck it onto a background and trimmed around it. And then she just picked out one word very simply, coloured that up with the ink pads, and then just used that as a feature piece on the front of the card. Really, really snazzy. I think that's really on trend. Looked fantastic for maybe a teenager. I think that's a really, really nice card. Nice size as well. Great idea. Again, just showing you what you can do with the dies all on their own. And then maybe the dies could be used and added to other cards or other dies that you've got in your collection. Again, a little bit like the stencils, sentiments, dies are something you're going to go back to time and time again. They are something you'll always keep and always use over and over, especially when they're as stunning as this. So this is just to give you an idea of how these words can be used alongside other panels and other dies, just to enhance the card, make a really nice big statement. And another couple there using both the background stencil idea with the beautiful and the fabulous, again, as feature pieces. So some really stunning ideas there. I just wanted to share with you from our design team. So a massive thank you to all of them, Sue herself, for all of these cards that they've put together. Always do a fabulous job, they really do. And make our lives very easy when we're showing you all these fantastic ideas. So thank you very much. I'm just going to pop a few of these one side. I'm just going to leave a couple of Diane's out on the table here, which are using just those ink pads. She's been quite clever just to use the ink pads that are in today's treasure hunt bundle that I've put together for you. And those dies alone. So it just gives you a real nice snapshot there of just the complexity and also the simplicity of just what you can do with these stencils for nice large cards or also small cards. I'm just going to share with you a couple of makes that I've done myself as well here. So I've taken a similar approach, and I'm going to show you some of these demoed up now, just using some matte in there and just a really nice, simple, using that centerpiece of the stencil, using the 2 ink pads, just do a very simple stencil technique. And then over the top of that, laying down the fabulous die cut with also a little bit of that's also been heat embossed as well with some of the Cosmic Shimmer in black embossing powder, detail embossing powder. Very, very simple. Again, these words really make a nice feature piece. And then on this one here, I've just mounted, you can see on some foam tape there from Woodware, the beautiful word off. So very, very sort of similar technique. Just wanted to show you the two side by side, just by adding some of that blue ink from the ink pad that I've included with a little bit of a black piece of card for the shadow behind it. Really looks completely different to the fabulous. And I've also gone ahead there and embossed, using the stencils, one of the butterflies, which I'll be showing you that technique in a minute, just how you can do a using embossing powder to resist other inks, because these are water-based inks, so we can use embossing powder to kind of layer up and mask areas, which I'm just going to show you in a very simple way, just as a small technique to try out. And without further ado, I'll show you the card that we're going to make together. So I've gone for a really nice little A5 card, and I'm going to show you how these are actually embossed, even though it's a stencil. And then we're going to build up this nice ring all around the outside, and then put in a little bit. It's sort of almost like a journal or book front cover. It looks like, with what a fabulous day. It could easily be mounted on the front of a diary or something like that. I think there's a nice saying, which is why I've chosen that. I thought that almost looked like a notebook size. So what a fabulous day. Where maybe you note down all your journaling day by day bits and pieces that you've done. So let's have a look at how we're going to make that up. I'm just going to pop some of Diane's cards to one side. I will bring them out at the end just to share those with you also, because I want you to see those again and have a few more ideas. Just pop that packaging to one side, and the dies, and we're going to start off with our inks and a piece of foundation cardstock. So I've got some bright white foundation cardstock here that I've got, and I'm going to go ahead and just use a couple of these butterflies that we've got on this stencil here. And just to make things a little bit easier for myself, I'm just going to bring down my tape here that I've got just for quickness. I'm just going to mask off a couple areas that I don't want to use. So with masks, when you've got lots of areas together like this, let me just lift that up so you can see that, there you go, and you're working quite closely to other pieces, what I'm actually going to do is just mask off some of the areas that I don't necessarily want. So I'm going to go for this little butterfly here, and let's have a look. Let's also go for possibly this one down here. Probably those two I'm going to use. So I'm just going to mask off some of the other bits and pieces that are nearby. And by that, I'm just using some low tack tape over the top of the stencil, just to make sure that when I'm doing some blending, none of my ink is going to go through the other parts of the stencil that I don't necessarily want at this stage. So you can be as cautious about this as you want. You don't necessarily have to do this, but it's just a way, again, if you're starting out, of ensuring that when I've done that, all I've got now is just that butterfly and that butterfly there. Oh, take that back a little bit. That is actually clear and ready for me to blend through. I'm just going to be using one of the woodware blending tools here, just to blend through those areas, because it just makes it a lot easier for you if you're just starting out. Now, if this is maybe a new tool for you, just make sure if this is the first time you've used these, give these a wash underneath the tap, just to sort of prime them really, so they're not so new, because they get better with age. Right, so let's make a start with a couple of the butterflies that we've got here. I'm also going to get ready with one of my storage boxes that I'm going to be using some detailed embossing powder. I've got one of our large pots of detailed embossing powder. It's 100ml. This is completely clear, this one, so it's going to allow the colour of the ink pad to come through. I'll just show you how really quick this sort of technique is. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. Just going to take the lid off early. So you don't have to use something like a perfect medium or something else with embossing powder. You can use an ink pad such as these, which are slightly slower drying, they're dye-based ink. It's going to stay wet enough to allow me to apply the embossing powder over the top of the card. So before I go any further, I'm just going to very quickly grab my anti-static pad, because as soon as I'm going to use anything that is embossing powder based, the woodware anti-static little pads are just going to make sure that any fingerprints or slightly damp areas or static is going to stop any embossing powder sticking to that later on. So that's what you need to do with that. I'm going to apply some of my rosy cheeks to my craft mat. There you can see the stunning colour. They are very, very strong colours here. And I'm just going to pick up some of that ink. Now you can be quite, I'm probably going to use most of that ink, because what I want to make sure is this is, put down a little bit more, is kind of wet enough, the stage wet enough for my embossing powder to adhere and stick to what I'm going to actually mask through. So I'm just going to start off with, let's pop that smaller butterfly just at the top of my project there. So if I mask that off, show that through, there we go. You can be quite light with this, so I've got a lot of ink. There we go. And that is absolutely ample. And then I can take my embossing powder, and hopefully, it's a little bit warm in here, that's going to stay just, there we go. So that's got the embossing powder actually stuck to the ink pad. So you don't have to use a perfect medium pad or something like that. You can go ahead and use something like an ink pad or a dye-based ink pad that's going to stay wet long enough. So let's just heat that from below. You'll start to see that turn in a moment. I'll show you that. There we go. You can see that going darker. Put the heat to the top. There we go. Sorry about the noise. There we go. We've got our first butterfly there. You can see that glossy, and that's all been embossed with clear embossing powder. You can see that you've got that rosy cheeks colour coming from below. So I can go ahead and do exactly the same with our other little butterfly here, which I masked off. So we're going to use that one down in that corner there. Exactly the same technique. Apply that. Take some of the dye ink pad. Use the blending tool, and just very simply blend that through the stencil. Really, really simple technique, but it's these simple techniques that you can build up time and time again. As I say, I'm very mindful that sometimes we've got people starting out, and these treasure hunt kits are an amazing way to start off in crafts. Great value. It gives you lots and lots of bits and pieces to play with, and you get to try out lots of different techniques just in that one pack. So it's a great way of making a start. Now I've gone over the top there. See, accidents do happen. I'll show you how we can get rid of that in a minute though. Right, so let's just heat that one up. There we go. So that's now all nice and glossy. I'll just take off the excess from there. And then what I would do with that is I'll actually go ahead and just blend that in with some of the green that I'm going to use in a moment. So like I said, we all make mistakes, but that's the nice way of just trying out and learning different things. So it just went over the edge of the mask there. So it's just a case of being mindful of the edges of your mask as well. That's all. So with that, I'm just going to pop that to one side. And what we're going to do is actually use one of the other ink pads to use it as a bit of a wash. So I'm just going to take off my low tack tape. I could use this a few times, do some batch making if I wanted to. But I'm going to just clean my mask off because I actually want to use this same mask again, just to show you, because there's a couple of different things just on this one mask alone. Let me just get a quick wipe, just take off the excess. There we go. You can always wash these underneath the tap, but to be honest with you, with dye-based inks, something like this, they're very, very quick just to clean up, just using a quick wet wipe. There you go. And you don't want to rub your stencils. Make sure you just pat your stencils, because if you rub them and you catch the edge, you're going to potentially lift up the edges of some of them if they're more and more delicate ones. These aren't too bad. So just pat them dry or leave them to dry. Then that's good to go for our next piece. So we put that to one side. And I'll bring in another blending tool. So we're going to have a go with the Clear Skies ink pad. I'm just going to apply some of that down here on my craft sheet. So you can see the colour of that, absolutely stunning. And I'm going to bring back in that card that we made earlier on with the two butterflies. And I'm actually going to go ahead and just use a bit of water and a brush. I've just got a nice wide, I think it's half inch actually, Ranger wash brush here. It comes in a set of different size brushes. You can use any wash brush, but a nice wide brush like that. There we go. That you can easily apply a lot of colour in a large surface space very quickly. I'm just going to take some water, get my brush primed. I'm actually going to go ahead and apply some of that water to the cardstock, because otherwise the water will not blend and wick or when you put it onto the card. So you need to just get your card ever so slightly damp, not soaking, like so, just like that. And then when I take some of this colour, you can see all I'm doing is just applying water to my ink pad. So I've now got myself a watery ink, or watercolour even, which is a nice thing you can do with these dye ink pads from Ranger, from Simon Hurley. And I can add a little bit more water to that. And I'm just going to apply a wash over the top of this very, very quickly. You see, I just did that in one go. That's all I wanted to do, was just one swipe of colour. And obviously, because that's embossing powder, it's clear, it's completely resisted all of that water-based ink that I've applied. Now I can go over that with a little bit more blue, so I'm just going to bring in a little bit more of that clear sky ink just to darken down what I've got. So normal watercolour rules apply. The more water I add, the lighter the colour, the more it's going to flow, but the more ink, the more intense the colour. So I just want to make the top of the sky just that little bit darker. That's all. And just apply a few brush strokes that we've got in there. Right, there we go. So I'm just going to mop off of the very top of both of those any excess, and then we've still got our butterflies showing through. So I just put that to one side to dry and put my water. So just brushes, everything can just be cleaned up with water. It's all very, very easy to clean up with this. It is just water-based. Side. Right, there we go. So we've got our background coming together. That's drying off nicely. And the next thing we want to do is add some foliage so we can start to build the frame around the outside. So again, just using simple, straightforward stencil techniques, I'm going to go for this corner piece here and actually build this up in layers. What I'm going to do for this is to lay down some of the overzealous, lovely, stunning green. This is real nice foliage green. I'm going to pop some down into there. We will use, just going to prime that ever so slightly. I think this could be a semi-newer pad, so I'm just going to get that a little bit wet and then pick up some of this ink ready to go. There we go, there's plenty on there now, absolutely loads. And I'm going to pick up our watercolour, that's now dried off. I'm just going to start to apply using the foliage that I've got here. Now again, I'm going to mask off the excess areas. So these butterflies are a little bit close to this foliage. I'm just going to, for safety, make sure I don't blend through any of the bits of the butterfly. So I'm just going to mask those areas off very quickly with a little bit of low-tack tape. Just to show you how you can use your stencils in a different way. You don't have to use them all as one piece, you just pick out little areas. So now we've got that stencil area in the corner completely segregated from the rest. And I'm going to go in with a little bit here. And what I'm actually going to do is just build this up in layers. And by that, what I mean is I'm actually going to apply a little bit of, just take off a little bit of the excess. I'm going to apply a little bit of the colour just lightly to begin with. You just want a light build up of colour. So we're going to have some foliage in the background, some in the foreground. We're going to make it darker as it appears towards the front. But because I'm going over the top of the butterfly that has been heat embossed with the clear embossing powder, you can see that that foliage is sat behind the butterfly. It's resisted the dye ink. It's not gone onto that butterfly at all. So that's a lovely thing using masks and embossing powders in this way with the clear ones. So I'm going to do likewise down the bottom here. Add a little bit of the foliage. I'm just going to slowly build it up. I think what we'll do is we'll just work in this one corner here. I'm just going to show you how that can then very quickly build up. So you can notice I've not gone back to the ink pad for more colour. I'm actually just allowing a very, very faint mask of ink, a shape of ink through the mask just to come through. See, when I remove the mask, it's still very apparent there where that foliage is, but it's very, very faint because I just want to build up, as I said, some layers to this. So I'm going to go in now a little bit darker for the first time. We're going up the top here with this here, and I can start to apply some more stronger colour over the top of this just to create, as I said, a little bit of depth. So got sort of dark foliage in the front, lighter foliage in behind, and I can start to build up, maybe going there as well. You can have some real fun with this and just try out different positions. Every one you do will be completely different, even though you're using the same mask time and time again, where you position them, how they look. And you can see I'm just applying that over the top very, very quickly with our blending tool. Not applying much pressure at all, you don't need to, otherwise it'll go into the stencil. You can see how just in that one corner alone, how it's starting to build up. And I can carry on right the way around that project, and it's going to look a little something like that. You can see all the different layers. Just take that one to one side that I've layered up using all of the same stencil, the same ink pad, just creating different shades of that green by going heavier and darker. You can see both butterflies still are completely free of any other colour because they've resisted all that ink. So let me just take the tape off of this again, and then we're just going to finish this little card design up for you and just show you what I've done to complete that. So let's take off the excess. Now these, you can wet this ink and then pick it up on a card and create backgrounds with it. I'm obviously just doing this for speed, just to move on to the next stage for you. But you can see how these go a very, very far away, these ink pads. So that's where we are with that at the moment. Just take that off my mask ever so carefully. Click over that. There we go. And what I've done then on the next stage of this, just to show how I got to towards the end of this, is I just applied a bit of matte, and I just put a very thin black line around the outside, just using some of our black card. And what I also did, just to start to blend all this together, was to use some of the green overzealous as a blending tool. I just want to show you what the difference this makes. So obviously at the moment it's all a little bit, the edge is quite harsh. If you look at this one again, it's nice and soft. And all I've done is I've gone around with the green just to pull everything together. So I'm just going to show you what I mean by that. So I've just got some ink and a blending tool. I'm just going to work around the edge of here and just very, very slowly start to build up, just applying a little bit of pressure, circular motions, going from the edge of my craft sheet, from the edge of the project onto the craft sheet. Just put that down again. And I can start to build up a little bit of a darker colour. And I'm just going to do this one edge just to show you the difference, so you can see the difference from the left and the right. And I'm just going to slowly take bigger circles and work that in towards the centre of the card. I'm not going back for more and more ink. I'm just using the same ink that's on the blending tool, and it will naturally fade out. So I'm just going to go back in now for a bit, but I'm not going to start in the middle. I'm going to go from the edge again, so I don't get make sure I always got dark around the edge, and then gradually it blends out into a much softer green as I work in towards the centre of the card. There we go. So that's now probably the left-hand side done, and then I would just work my way around the edge of the card, like so. And I very rarely take my tool off the craft sheet when I'm working like this. I'll go up and keep moving in circular motions and just keep it applied. I get quite a few questions about this, but I tend to use my bottom two smaller fingers just to sort of decide how much pressure, and that's not that difficult at all, but I use those fingers just to keep the blending tool raised enough off of the craft desk, so I'm not applying too much pressure. So I'm not actually pushing the tool down like that. I'm just sort of softening it down using these two fingers. You see what I'm doing there, like that. There we go. So you can see the difference between the top and the left there compared to the bottom and the right, just how that starts to blend in. And that's all I did for that technique, was I just used that one colour just to blend the foliage together around the sky. Really simple technique, again, just to enhance the card. And that's what I've done there all the way around with that finished piece there. So it's almost there. Let's take it by excess again. We are going to now just go in with our Fabulous. So I've got here the Fabulous die that we had from this pack that we got in today's treasure hunt, and I'm going to use that, and it just fits very nicely, almost like a book cover, like the title, right across the middle there between the two butterflies. We're going to pop Fabulous. So I've gone ahead and I've cut that out of some black foundation already that I've got there. You can see it's quite a nice, lovely font to work with. Really, really nice size. And I'm just going to use one of our fine tip glue bottles to apply a little bit of glue to the back of this one. So use a woodware, try and do this up to the camera rather than put it on the craft sheet so you can see what I'm doing. This is a woodware fine knit little metal nozzle, and it just allows you to dispense some of the Cosmic Shimmer dries clear glue through the metal tip, and it just gives you a little bit more control of just applying it onto the back of your words. There's lots of different ways of doing this, but with the words at this sort of size, it's quite easy actually. They're not difficult to apply glue to the back of at all. And you only need to hit certain areas like I'm doing there, and that will be more than enough to hold it in position. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down now. And just center that up like so. There we go. Lovely. So it's starting to come together quite nicely now. Just apply that down. There we go. And then the other finishing touch that I did is I went in and I've used some of the stamps as well. I just want to show you how easy that is just to add the what a day, what a fabulous day. So you can see that's the only thing missing at the moment. So they always look slightly different, but I think everyone is, they're never going to be the same using stencils. I think that's the fun. You never quite know how they're going to turn out. And I am going to show you now, we're going to take what a day from the stamp set here, from the fabulous die that I'm using again. So I've got those two there. And I'm going to use this stamping press. So if you're new to crafting, you may not have seen one of these before. It's made really taking stamping on leaps and bounds when these became very, very popular. And this one is a fantastic design. It's got little spring nibs here, and on here it's magnetic. There's no hinge. You can take this away completely and apply your stamps. I'll show you what I mean if you've not seen them before, because I know all these crafting tools can be quite confusing. So how I've started is I've literally applied my project down. These are magnets. It holds the project in place. And then I've got the little stamps. I'm actually just placing them in position where I want them to stamp. So I'm just, without looking over the top and blocking your view, so I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Just apply that one down there. Ooh, so tiny, it doesn't want to stay. There we go. And that is, he's not behaving this one today, is he? Let me get my tool. There we go. There, perfect. So what a fabulous day. So I want those to stamp in that location. And I'm actually going to lift up, this is in effect my stamping block, and I'm just going to leave it above my project like that. And when I push down, the spring-loaded feet will go down far enough to pick up those stamps. I can release, and now what I've got is I've got those stamps, you can see, in exactly the position that I need them. And no matter how many times I go in, they're going to stamp in exactly the same position, time and time again, exactly where I want them. But it just means that you can position your stamps without having to be too, you can make sure they're all in the right place before going in there with your stamp block for the first time on your finished project. It just makes it a lot easier. So now I'm going to apply my ink to the stamp straight from the ink pad. I'm just using an archival here from Ranger, because obviously you've done some watercolors there. I mean, I think it's dry by now. It's quite warm here, so I don't think there's too much of a problem. But the archival will just set very nicely and quickly. I'm going to go over the top there and just apply a little bit of pressure and just stamp those. And the lovely thing with this is if I wanted to go back in, I could actually go back in now, stamp that another time, and it's going to stamp in exactly the same position. But I'm quite happy with that. That's come out really nice. What a fabulous day. And that's stamped out really nice. And that is our little demo today using our treasure hunt bundle. So let me just put that to one side and just remind you all the goodies that I've put together in this Thursday's treasure hunt. So we've got the 3 ink pads there from Ranger, from Simon Hurley, in the 3 different colours that we can use to blend watercolour. We can mix them, we can use them with our water brush, and we can use them to stamp with as well if we wanted to, straight through. And I've also used them to apply embossing powders as well. We've also got one of Sue Wilson's bold words in the fabulous with the stamps, the 9 stamps as well, and also the beautiful one as well with the 7 stamps. And we've got both of those included in today's treasure hunt. And then not forgetting probably the star of the show in this week's treasure hunt is the 2 stencils, 2 brilliant 7x7 stencils. Let me just grab the packaging and pop those behind there so you can see what you've got. You've got the graceful butterflies and you've got the timeless florals. And you'll notice there that all we've actually done today in the demo is just use the graceful butterfly. So it just shows you just one idea what you can do with that one stencil on its own. And then the one I did previously that I showed you earlier on, same technique with the resist on the butterfly, but we've got the different timeless floral sort of bouquet in behind. So that shows you exactly what you can do there using exactly the same colours as well. And then that's similar concept with just the black lettering. So that's just using those items on their own. And I'll just wrap up just by laying out again a few of Diane's cards that use exactly the same colours that we've used here today. The same stencils and the same ink pads, and also the same dies across the range, just to give you some real inspiration. So I really hope you've really enjoyed today's treasure hunt this Thursday. I've really enjoyed it. It's been different for me with the stencils. I don't always get to play with stencils a great deal, so I really do enjoy using the stencils. So many different ways you can use them. Just to remind you that the offer price on this, it's just £29.99 for all of the goodies that you saw on my craft desk a few moments ago, with the ink pads, the dies and the stencils, to try out all these fantastic techniques that Diane shared with us, and I've just shown you here with some other bits and pieces. All the links are down below there for this treasure hunt bundle, including all the extra bits and pieces that you may want to have a go with as well, the glues, the embossing tools, and also the clear embossing powder, the detail clear embossing powder, to do that resist technique that I've shown you there today. I really hope you've enjoyed this. Don't forget, it's 1 week only, or until stocks last on all of these offers, just £29.99. And also to make sure that you do like, subscribe, and share all of these treasure hunts, and make sure you subscribe so you can hit the bell, and then you know when we are back on next Thursday at 6 o'clock. Just to remind you, I have a completely new bundle next week and a completely new offer using some very different things. I can guarantee it will always be different every single week. And over the course of a number of the weeks, you actually will build up a really fantastic craft kit, whether you're starting off for the first time or whether you're actually been crafting for some years. You'll have some really different tools and inks in your collection by the end of this. So thank you very much for watching us. I'm James Hembrow from the Creative Expressions Demonstrators team. I really hope you can join me again on next Thursday's treasure hunt. Till then, happy crafting.